Happy Halloween! Welcome to the Horror Nights Gauntlet, HHN 31 Ultimate Hype List. Did I say it right, Lauren?
Yes.
Wow. My name is Dakota, this is Lauren. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the fucking credits. So like we said on the other side of the credits, welcome to the Horror Nights Gauntlet's HHN 31 Ultimate Hype List. And specifically, thank you to everyone who saw the last video and participated in the poll. I was expecting like 5 people, and it was a lot of people, so I really appreciate that. We were able to get like a really diversified...
pooling of numbers?
Yeah, I didn't want to say polling again. But I feel like we got good results, and I feel like it's more honest. And I also feel like the dispersal makes sense, particularly like these and the...
Oh yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So the fandom has ranked the 17 haunted attractions, houses, scare zone shows at Halloween Horror Nights Orlando, from 17 being the worst and number 1 obviously being the most hyped attraction for the fandom, for the community. So we'll be going through those one at a time, and then Lauren and I will each be kind of revealing where we personally ranked things and just kind of talking about why we feel how we feel and maybe how we think things are going to play out over the season. And then, since I have someone to really kick me in the balls and get this done at the end of the season, right, we can compare and contrast maybe. So without further ado, we will see you guys right on the other side of the jump with number 17. So Lauren, will you do the honors and alternate and get us started?
All right. So number 17 is Ghoulish, a Halloween tale. On a Halloween night, a ghost story becomes reality as you go beyond the grave in a spectacularly spooky show on Universal Studios Lagoon. So I also had this ranked as number 17.
Damn, okay.
I don't know. I was kind of back and forth a little bit just because it doesn't have the namesake of Marathon of Mayhem. So I'm kind of excited to see what this show is going to be. Hoping for something a little bit different. But I also am just like, the shows always kind of get cut for me for time when we're at the event. So I'm not usually as excited for those typically, but I am still really excited to see what it's going to be.
No, that's why I think it landed so low with the crowds. It's, it's a show. It's the very last thing. And it's also, I feel like people didn't really like Marathon of Mayhem last year. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I feel like people have to earn their trust back. And I think that's maybe even why they changed the name.
Yeah, I could see that.
Is honestly because people didn't like Carnage Factory. I had it ranked a bit higher. I had this at 10 of 17. Because I really like Marathon of Mayhem. I didn't really like Carnage Factory, but I do really like the original show, and I love the hints we've seen so far. I mean, the description sounds like it's classic Halloween. It sounds like it's going to fit in with the scare zones and the overall like aesthetic and theme for the year and the season. But I also feel like, I don't know, did you see the marquee they just set up recently?
Yeah, with the record.
With the record, that's really cool. It's like it's a storybook record, like a read along. So like that's the theme of the show. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But then there's also like a side A, side B for the times, and I'm like, you have my attention, Ghoulish. I'm very interested. Otherwise, yeah, I'm excited for Ghoulish. I think this could be a lot of fun. I fully get why it's the lowest in the community ranking, but I think we're all going to be pleasantly surprised. Coming in at number 16 is another show. It's both of the shows are at the bottom, which I kind of expected from the fandom. This is Halloween Nightmare Fuel Wildfire. This is the sequel to last year's fan favorite Halloween Nightmare Fuel show, featuring the world-famous performance group, the Fuel Girls, highlighting a new dreamer in the depths of a new nightmare, set to a heart-pounding metal, rock, and electronica score. This is also not ranked super high for me, I will be real. I have it at number 15 of 17. It's low. I think it's cool. I thought it was a really cool show. I enjoy the dancing shows. I enjoyed every time I went. I just ultimately, I don't know what to expect to be different, I guess. Which is great because we're in for a surprise then. But in my mind, I'm just imagining what we got last year. So it's like,
yeah, that's fair.
It's just ranked kind of low for me.
Yeah, personally, I have it at number 15 as well. I really did enjoy the show last year, and it's kind of like you said, I feel like it's maybe going to be more of the same, but I do always love the dancing shows. I love theater, so I kind of love seeing that, like, live performance aspect to a show.
Like, it's not a thing I'm going to probably even see every night, maybe even every weekend.
Oh, yeah,
you know?
No, it's... For me, I'm more of like a maybe one and done with the shows.
Yeah.
Personally, just because we're also from Tampa, so
it's a lot to try and cram into a single night.
Every time, yeah.
Yeah. So, but you know, I look forward to seeing it. Hopefully, opening weekend. I'm not even promising that for our we almost never end up seeing the show.
Almost never see it during opening. So coming in at number 15 is Conjur the Dark. On the first All Hallows Eve, an evil sorceress called forth monstrosities from the dark dimensions. Now your blood will fuel them.
Okay, so this was number 15. I honestly am surprised for the crowd. Like, I kind of thought, like, the witches vibe would be, like, a little stronger.
I maybe feel the same way, because what I maybe have lower is a little bit higher than I was anticipating. But here's the thing. I am super excited for everything this year.
No, that's fair. That is really fair. It's
even something this low, I feel like I am super excited for.
I will say the stuff at my bottom 3 I am not that excited about, but I'm excited generally overall. Sorry, so what is your ranking?
My ranking is, I have this at number 11. So definitely a little bit higher than maybe everybody else.
So do I.
Great minds think alike.
But I just moved it. Like, I literally just moved it before we recorded. I, shuffled through. So it's not even the same as that podcast we did. Like, it's I don't think it's...
I will say that, making the list has been very hard and challenging. And some things have been, like, flip-flopped a lot.
I feel very strongly about the tops and bottoms and everything else. I'm like...
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm interested. It's kind of in the middle of the pack for me, but witches and Halloween.
Yeah, I'm very excited, and it's kind of giving me, like, Terra Queen vibes
kind of
from the...
Terra Queen, and maybe even the Vitch. Yeah, maybe a little bit of, like, European... I know that was set in Massachusetts, but, like, it had that, like, old world...
Old world, for sure,
kind of vibe. Yeah, so I'm into it. I think it sounds cool. Also, portals...
Oh, yeah.
Right? What does that even mean? I'm imagining the Doctor Strange show at California Adventure in Avengers Campus.
I haven't seen it yet.
There's, like, just a big LED screen behind a door, and it's like, no, Dormammu! And it's like, that's a LED screen, baby. I guess that's what I'm imagining. It's Dormammu, the Scare Zone. So for number 14, you guys told us that you are also not too excited about Graveyard Deadly Unrest, and that is also in 4th place for the Scare Zones, if you were keeping track. On All Hallows Eve, a dark storm descends upon a cemetery and awakens long-dead spirits. No one living can escape them. Where is this for you, Lauren?
I have this above Conjur the Dark at number 10.
This is number 13 for me. This is actually this is my lowest Scare Zone.
Oh, okay.
I think it's really pretty. Mm-hmm. The cemetery that we've seen in photos and everything. I don't know. I think the other ones sound cooler. I love the idea of skeletons and stuff. I worry, is it going to feel too much like the Iniquitous and Festival of the Deadliest, and like I know a lot of people really like Bone, but I didn't really like that Scare Zone. And I'm like, is it gonna feel like that, or is it gonna be like more like if Graveyard Games were a Scare Zone? That could be really cool. So
I would love like a combination of like Graveyard Games and Gothic.
Yeah,
I definitely kind of get Gothic vibes from the statues that they've added recently.
I could see that.
So I would love sort of that
like
vibe,
gargoyles and
which
living
is
statues.
kind of why it's higher on my list.
Yeah, okay, I could see that. I feel like my only experience with Graveyard Scare Zones is not super great, so that's maybe why it's lower on mine. But I'm still interested, and I still like see the potential for how this could be really cool. Also, I think the sets are going to be absolutely beautiful at night.
The sets look gorgeous just from the day pictures, and I really like the Hollywood Scare Zone location.
That actually is a contributing factor to why it's so low for me.
Really?
Because I'm worried...
Nothing will ever live up to Vanity Ball.
No, I'm just worried that it like will be kind of like... Hollywood to me is like Vanity Ball, Van 55, Chucky, like... Asylum in Wonderland. It's like where fun scare zones go.
That's fair.
And this looks like it could be a little bit more like serious and gloomy.
Which I think was maybe to the like detriment of Lights, Camera, Action. Like it was just like not really fun up like energy wise.
Yeah, like I mean the characters were doing the most to make it fun, but I like the music was just so gloomy to me, and it was like absolutely. The vibe was wrong. Mm-hmm. And I worry that could happen for this zone for me personally, I guess.
That's fair. We did a whole episode on it. We're fine.
Yeah, we don't have to say a lot.
Coming in at number 13 is The Horrors of Blumhouse. So, shriek through 2 Blumhouse masterpieces. Face a frantic teen and a serial killer who have swapped bodies in Freaky. Then, in the terrifying The Black Phone, you'll find yourself kidnapped by the grabber.
Masterpieces?
Listen.
Where do you have it ranked?
I have Horrors of Blumhouse right here at number 13 as well.
So I have this at number 16. It's really low. It's nothing against it. Right above it is Nightmare Fuel, like I was talking about. Well, I guess that sounds pretty bad. I guess if I'm indifferent about Nightmare Fuel, I'm also indifferent about this. Like, I expect I'll like it. But as far as like the rest of the list goes, I'm more interested in other things, and this I expect that the Freaky side will be fun, and the Black Phone side will be
the same room over and over again.
The same room over and over again, and maybe a little awkward.
Maybe. I am excited to see what's going to be in the house. So I'm really excited to see what scenes they do have from Freaky, and I'm excited to see how they possibly pull off the Black Phone. I'm really hoping for more than just the grabber. I would really love for like a ghost kid to like pop out at you.
Yeah, no, I really hope the ghost kids are part of it.
So I'm hopeful. So
otherwise, yeah, Horrors of Blumhouse. I expect it to be almost the same vibes as the second one, just in reverse, but maybe that'll work for people.
Maybe.
I'm sort of surprised it's landed where it is with the fandom. I kind of expected it to be higher, just because I feel like Horror Nights fans talk like they hate Blumhouse, but then they like get really hyped about what movies are going to be in Blumhouse every time that there's a rumor that Blumhouse is coming. So I guess I just kind of expected it to be higher, but where it's landing seems realistic. Number 12 for the fandom is another scare zone. This one is right in the middle, so that's interesting. This is Horrors of Halloween.
Horrors of Halloween?
The Horrors of Halloween, yes. The Pumpkin Lord, the spirit of Halloween, has taken over this year's event, summoning hordes of fiendish creatures. Terror has taken root.
The spirit of Halloween? Spirit Halloween.
Oh my god. So, I had this dead last for the scare zones, but I've scooted it up. I've moved it to number 12. Really, I'm very excited about the Pumpkin Lord thing as a scare zone. I think that's really exciting. I wasn't that thrilled with the construction updates we were seeing in the park. I was like, pumpkins against metal trusses. But now that it's like been more fleshed out, and now that we're like at the event, I feel like I can like see what they're going for now, and I'm more interested. So I did bump it up a little bit because I feel like this could end up being one of my favorite zones this year, given the concept, like just classic Halloween pumpkin lord. I'm assuming the way that there's like the little like references to the other zones, maybe characters from the other zones, but I'm also like Lil Boo's character, maybe, like, I don't know, I'm just literally spitballing, but I'm like, I could see this being an interesting, like, I could see this really like encapsulating the event into one scare zone.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I also have this as number 12 on my list, but this is my least anticipated scare zone. Not that I'm not excited for it, I really am. Like you said, I also had a problem with like the pumpkins just on metal trusses. Then one day I was just like, you know what, I'm sure they're gonna put some like greenery around, like, and then like the next day the vines appeared and I was like, yeah, so it's looking a lot better. But for me, it's mostly just the location of this zone. It's always just such a pain to walk through.
Especially with the Shrek Theater closed and construction walls up around it. Oh,
absolutely.
I feel like it's going to be
a nightmare.
Fucking horrible.
Because then when I'm like, I don't want to deal with the crowd, I used to go on the sidewalk, so that's
I do typically cut to the Minion side, but I mean, I guess it's both the Minion side now. I'm excited. The Wicked growth vibes condensed into a scare zone. To me, this is a scare zone that should be in Central Park, but I like that they're like, no, it needs a bigger space, so they moved it to the only slightly bigger Avenue of the Stars.
Coming in at number 12 is Scarecrow, Cursed Soil. At an abandoned farm, scarecrows have risen from the crust of the earth to haunt you and seek revenge. They'll harvest your screams. So, I definitely have this ranked way higher, personally.
I do too.
I have this baby at number 5.
I'm shocked that this is as low as it is for the fandom. I honestly thought, like, just the Scarecrow brand, the recognition of the house, the reputation of the house as being like one of the scariest of all time, I thought for sure people would be like, yeah, this is for I thought this would be the highest ranked scare zone, and as you can see, it's not. And I thought it would absolutely clear the top 10, and it did not. For me, this is number 7. What did you say? 5. Yeah, this is number 7 for me. I expected to scoot up.
This is my highest ranked scare zone, but I do feel like it has, just for everybody else's like perspective of, it's definitely not finished yet, right? So
yeah,
you can't
at least at the time of recording.
Yeah, you can't see how, like, what the scale is or anything like that.
But I mean, the promise of a completely constructed barn to walk through to get into the zone
sounds so appealing to me.
I'm like, this is gonna feel like innovation.
I'm so excited. And then, but some people also just don't like that.
I know a lot of people do hate Central Park, and I'm a like firm defender of Central Park.
It's always one of my favorites.
It's usually like my top 2 for the year, almost every year.
So yeah, I'm really excited for this.
I'm like, people are like, but it's crowded, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, oh well, the whole park is fucking crowded. San Francisco, for whatever fucking reason, they always want to put like a photo op zone in a very crowded place, and that's why Central Park, I think, always works better than San Francisco. Is really just fucking keep going. Like, San Francisco, people are like, oh, I'm gonna stop and take a picture with the fucking crypto man. I'm really excited for this zone. I think, to me, scarecrows are one of the like purest joys of like Halloween, and also like fall and Halloween Horror Nights. Some of my favorite scare zones over the years have been Scarecrow themed. Okay. Like, one of my all-time favorite zones, Field of Screams, was like the first year they planted the corn and summoned a hurricane. Like, that's one of my favorite zones they've ever built. And then, like, I feel like the Scarecrow zones were the ones that slowly turned into the classic Halloween zones. Like, they were more just like, they were already the classic Halloween zone. That's fair. And then they took that, like, it's like they took the rustic element out of the classic Halloween zone and said, here's just unfiltered Halloween, and here's unfiltered rustic Scarecrows. And fucking eyedropper, like, I want it. I love it. I love Scarecrows. All of, like, those are just like the factors that have me like, this could be horrible, this could be a shit show, but I'm fascinated, I'm excited, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. Coming in at number 10 for the audience poll is 1978's Halloween. Gather your friends and visit Haddonfield, Illinois, where Michael Myers is about to don his mask and embark on his first brutal spree. Silent, merciless, relentless, he's the embodiment of pure evil. You don't want to go alone as you go back to where it all began. This year, step into the original 1978 horror classic, Halloween. What? You go first and tell me where you put it.
I have it ranked at number 9.
Okay. It's a lot higher than me. So Halloween is dead last for me.
I know.
It's number 17. I'm surprised it's not for you because all of the reasons that I have, it's not one of those other things that like sometimes you're like, okay, well you've seen it, but I haven't. Like we've literally seen this house together every time.
We have, yeah.
And we've seen it a lot. We've seen it in 2014. We saw it in Hollywood in 2015. We saw it again in 2016.
I love Halloween.
We saw it twice in 2018.
This is such a comfort movie. I will never not be happy to see it.
I do enjoy seeing him at the event. More than seeing him, I enjoy hearing his theme songs.
That's Halloween. Just like if I don't hear that song, like, and I'm also excited for anybody who didn't get to see it.
Yeah, I agree. So that it's those reasons that I'm excited, but it's it's just the repetition. It just naturally is at the bottom solely because there's things I haven't seen that I want to see.
All right. So, coming in at number 9 is Hellblock Horror. So, as these monsters escape their prison, there's no escape for you. Enter a prison whose savage inmates are monstrous creatures. If they break free from their cells, it's a death sentence for everyone.
So, Community had this at number 9, so it's kind of literally right in the middle.
Where did you have this?
I have this at number 14.
I also have this at number 14.
Interesting. Why for you?
For me, like I said, I'm still excited for it, but I also feel like it's giving me like hodgepodge.
Yeah.
Possibly. But I'm still excited. I'm also kind of hoping it'll give like Cabin in the Woods vibes because I did not get to see that house in 23. So I would like to see sort of that, but I'm not
hopeful. I'm not that hopeful.
That's why it's there.
I'm not that hopeful. This could have been probably my last place. I ended up putting it at 14 because I think the concept for the story is cool. I like the idea of it being like a supermax prison for monsters with like an interdimensional like lock or something, right? That's cool. I mean, we know let's just be straight up. We know that it is a last minute like change if the rumors are to be believed. Allegedly, we know that this came in in June. So I guess I'm worried that it's going to be a mess. I'm worried that it's not going to look finished. That maybe there wasn't enough time to design monsters, so we're getting repeat costumes that they had in storage. So I guess that's where my hesitation lies. And then from that perspective, I said it before, like I don't like hodgepodge, a bunch of bullshit all thrown in just because it's nostalgic. I don't really vibe with that. I hope it's cool. Like a prison could be cool. I know everyone thought this was going to be like Hellgate.
Yeah, I definitely think that this probably has the most potential to grow for me just because it is lower on my list. So it will definitely depend on the house, like where this kind of ends up for me.
Yeah, I could see this going either way. I could see this being like really surprising. I could also just see this kind of feeling like kind of a mess.
Yeah, that's always the hope, right? I'm really hoping that this year is gonna be like the best year I've ever experienced. So I'm hopeful that everything is gonna be just like blew the pants off of everything before it. But we'll see. My hands smell like boy because I used your soap.
My soap or his soap?
His soap.
Oh yeah, my soap smells like pumpkin.
Oh, I fucked up.
You did, yeah. You really did. So coming in at number 8, this is actually the favorite or the most hyped scare zone. So this is the number 1 scare zone. is Sweet Revenge. The Sweets from Major Sweets Candy Company have turned these 1950s kids into crazed killers. With pint-sized costume maniacs roaming the streets, Halloween will be a night of trick-or-treat mayhem. This, for me, is actually very high. This is my number 4 overall.
Oh, okay.
And it's my number 1 scare zone.
I have it at number 7. So it's still just a little bit higher than the community polling, but I will say that this was way, way lower on my hype list just when we were hearing about what the concepts of the zones were. But then after seeing how they've dressed up this zone, I am really excited for it. Like, do not be confused just because it's number 7 on my list. This is still something that I'm super, super, super excited to see.
The description to me is telling me everything I personally need to hear for this aesthetic, which is it's set in the 1950s. I love that. Sounds like it's kind of a goofy concept too, with candy turning children into monsters. Yeah. Then we have the location for New York. It kind of feels to me like Psychoscarapy Unleashed. The trick-or-treater element is just, to me, is like a mainstay, like Halloween Horror Nights, essential. The like traditionals to me, that is essential Halloween Horror Nights, like scare actor type. I love it. I love that concept. I always get excited. They find like the tiniest like adult women to dress up like children, and then they act like fucking gremlins for 2 months. I'm excited.
It's everybody from Tooth Fairy.
Literally, this genre is very, I would say the bar is set very high, but I think this concept could clear the bar.
Yeah.
Like, I think this could be the new bar. Maybe. I don't want, like, I'm very hyped for it. I really feel strongly.
Yeah, I'm way more excited for a zone in New York than I have been in several years now. So I'm really excited for it.
I mean, the parade aesthetics, there's so much.
There's so
I feel
much.
like if this can give me the doo-wop 1950s music from Vamp 55 and the Halloween party vibe from Psychoscarapy Unleashed and the trick-or-treater vibe from Trick or Treat, Schoolhouse, the traditional roaming horde, like, this could be a top tier zone for me. I think this is.
I'm really hopeful for it.
I don't see this falling for me personally. Like, I see this maybe rising.
Okay.
I feel really good about this zone.
Yeah.
But it always ends up I end up eating my words.
So coming in at number 7 is Descendants of Destruction. Deep in the subway tunnels below an abandoned toxic city, mutant humans fight for survival and Descendants of Destruction. The deeper one goes, the darker their fate. In the fading light of the poisoned depths, hideous creatures who have long ago left their humanity behind prey on all who try to make their way through the darkness. So for me, pretty close. It's at number 6 for me.
It is also number 6 for me.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Is it part of Seeds of Extinction?
So it doesn't seem that it is?
I don't get that either. Like, bioluminescent mushroom sounds like.
That is the rumor, is that it is somehow connected to Seeds of Extinction, be it a prequel, be it a sequel, maybe an interquel.
Which I would really, really like.
I mean, I think this, I like the art we're seeing with the subway station.
Yeah, I like the art that we're seeing, and it makes me excited that we're going to have kind of, like, big sets with the subway stations. Maybe, like, a crash train would be really exciting to see.
I also just generally love the post-apocalyptic, like, overgrown aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's honestly not something we, like, unless it's like a zombie IP or something, we really don't see post-apocalyptic at Horror Nights in the houses very often.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, if it is tied to Seeds, I'm very excited because I loved Seeds of Extinction.
Yeah, Seeds was great. So yeah, if it has any sort of connection to Seeds, then I'm excited to see how that story evolves.
I know that, I feel like it's more like a cult house, but I'm definitely in that cult, so.
Yeah, you were in that cult from, like, the get-go.
I literally, from the jump, I was down. I was on board.
But yeah, I'm also kind of excited to see what sort of, like, creatures they're gonna have of, like, this post-apocalyptic world where everybody is down below a city in tunnels.
Yeah, I'm expecting like, you know, like the time machine, like the underground dwellers maybe, but like with a plant aesthetic if it is seeds or I mean they mention these glowing mushrooms and poison, so I feel like there's something to be said about how the mutation goes down.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Okay, I'm hoping that it is still a design, like a creature design, though, for the characters. I'm going to be really disappointed if it's just, like, people.
I would really love a video explaining, like, where we're at.
Like a Q video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love a Q video.
It's weird because it's like it's ranked pretty high for me at, you know, at number 6, but I don't have that much to say about it because I feel like we know so little.
Yeah.
But the concept interests me enough that it's like that's what put it up a little bit higher for me personally, even if it is like a big question mark. All the people who like hate the hype list season are like, see, why do you even fucking make it? All right, so coming in at number 6 is Fiesta de Chupacabras. Coming in at number 6 is Fiesta de Chupacabras. Listen to your abuela and beware the chupacabras. Visit a Latin American village where the legend of the creature chupacabra is celebrated with a colorful fiesta, and the streets are lined with the crimson blood of tourists like you and your amigos. One of the creators is of Latin descent, and he was saying like they were very respectful to the culture, so that's exciting to know.
Like, I do feel better knowing.
So for me, this is very high, actually. Despite all the shit talking we just did. This is my number 3.
This is my number 8. But like I said, still very excited. Like, everything on my list I'm very excited for.
Why? The reason it's at number 3 and not at number 1 is that Yeti was my number 1 hype list for 2019, and it ended up just kind of middle of the pack for me, and I feel like now I've maybe set my expectations a little lower because it's like I worry that people kind of view chupacabras as just like, oh, it's a werewolf or a Sasquatch or something like that.
Isn't it like
it's like a
goat looking? It's
like a weird goat fucking alien. I'm hoping these chupacabras, maybe we're getting like finally an original version of American Werewolf in London, like with a puppet heavy house or something would be really cool.
Yeah, I would love a puppet.
I don't know that's like what I want.
I am really excited to see what sort of design that they have for the chupacabras. I'm
cautiously optimistic. I think that this could be really cool. If the monster design is right. I mean, we've had the return of the puppets a few times with like the Lion and Nightingales or the Croco-Lion and Tomb of the Ancients, you know. So like I am curious to see what a non-IP puppet house looks like, if that's what this is. But it could also just be like guys in suits. So like I don't want to get my hopes up too high, I guess.
All right, coming into the top 5 of this countdown. Number 5 is The Weeknd, After Hours Nightmare. Prepare to enter the macabre mind of The Weeknd in this haunted house as he stalks your squad through the surreal nightmare of his after-hours music. A slasher carving a smile at an otherworldly rave. Bandaged maniacs performing extreme plastic surgery. A grotesque mannequin masquerade. His nightmare is now yours. So, number 5 for the community.
So I'm gonna need names and addresses for everyone who didn't. No, I'm kidding. It's higher than I expected from the community.
I honestly, because I was doing the calculations, it had very like polarizing sort of like views. Like I want to say this is one of the houses that had like some of the most like extreme like very high and low, and not so much like Blumhouse.
There wasn't like a bell curve.
Yeah, there was just
like a U.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a lot higher on my list. For me, this is number 3.
For me, this is number 2. Mm-hmm. And I will be honest, realistically, it probably is my number 1. It probably is. It's definitely the one I've thought about and talked about the most. But I feel like the one I put in my number 1 spot is the one that I like also just feel confident that like will actually succeed, where there's definitely the hesitation for this. There's definitely Oh, but it could fall so hard.
Yeah,
It really could land so hard on its ass. I don't want it to, but
it's like I don't want my hopes to be so high that they come crashing down. Is exactly what it is. So I understand. Yeah, I'm definitely on the same page where I'm like, it could be iffy. We'll see what happens, but I'm so excited to see it. It's definitely my most hyped IP house.
I mean, we had our outfits planned for for our announcement video. I would say before even the previous announcement.
Yeah, we had the looks planned for the announcement video. We bought stuff for the announcement video. I
mean, it's like we're dressing according to this house for opening night. Like,
yeah, our opening night look is definitely weekend inspired.
I realize that this really is probably the house I am most excited about. I'm just trying so hard to temper my expectations, but I'm like, I couldn't morally put it under number 2. I was like,
it was always going to be in my top 5, and
I don't have any fucking idea where it's going to land.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm going to think. I think I will have a good time our first time, and I don't think that will be anything that we can judge the rest of the season on.
Yeah,
I think I will
fair.
be too excited and probably drunk the first time we get into it that I will just be like, I will hear the music going, and that's going to be it.
I love a party house, so
Yeah.
I just love being able to have a good time in a haunted house and getting scared occasionally. Like it's
and I think
it's always a good
if it
time.
can achieve that, even if it ends up falling apart on multiple views, I could see it ranking very high among the nightly guests.
I think it's gonna draw in a huge crowd. So
This is get in line early, people, or you're
I
gonna
feel like-
you're gonna be in line all night. I think no matter what.
I feel like we're gonna spend a lot of time in the Duff stands. Right?
I think so. Unfortunately, this year. I mean, if it's like Beetlejuice, where we're like, actually, I don't give a shit. Maybe it won't matter.
I mean, I fucking hope not.
I really hope not. But I'm scared, for it.
I'm so excited.
Okay, coming in at number 4 for the community hype list is bugs eaten alive. These bugs are out to exterminate you. While touring a 1950s home of the future, you'll be surrounded by the slime of bugs everywhere as hordes of many-legged terrors descend upon you and your scream squad. You'll be dropping like flies.
Why don't you start with where this is at on your list?
I know it's much higher than it is for you. For me, this is number 5. This is my number 5. It is right below Sweet Revenge, right after Descendants of Destruction. Like, it is just right there in the top 5. I'm very interested in this house. I think, once again, 1950s, love that. We already talked about that with Sweet Revenge. We got camp, maybe. That's the thing, is I feel like this could be terrifying, or it could be really funny, or it could maybe even be both. And I could, like, the description is kind of giving me all of the above.
This is number 16 for me.
I see it.
I'm really hoping it'll be campy and fun and I can enjoy it, but I hate bugs.
So this is an anxiety. But if you took the anxiety out of it and it was just like the concept, or are you unable to divorce that?
I think I'm unable to divorce it because it's my anxiety about it is like in the Bugs Life show at Animal Kingdom, I've definitely had a panic attack and
The part where they finger you, right?
Yeah, screaming on the floor. So there's that. I've also been woken up out of a dead sleep because a bug has crawled into my ear, and I'm not a fan.
I have experienced Fear Factor in Halloween Horror Nights Islands of Fear. So I feel like I've been waiting for the bug redemption story. Because that is truly like in like the bottom like 5 or 6 houses for me of all time. Like, it is one of the worst. And to me, after the way they were describing it with like sticky shit to touch and sift in your face and like bugs and big bugs and little bugs and holes, and I'm like, sounds gross. Sounds a little corny too. I like a corny shit.
I'm really hoping it'll be campy and I'll be able to enjoy it a little bit more than being like terrified. And I love being scared, but bugs just ick me out.
But yeah, bugs. Bugs are gross. I hope this house is really gross. I've been waiting, I think, for a gross house. I feel like we have gore. There's a gory house every year, but there's not a gross house every year where you're just like, ah.
So, coming in at number 3 is Dead Man's Pier, Winter's Wake. You're dead in the water. In a New England fishing village, undead fishermen emerge from the waves to seek their revenge. You and your Scream Squad may have escaped their hooks in the scare zone. Now they'll reel you in and drag you under.
I'm going to be real. It is going to take me probably until the end of the season to stop calling this Dead Man's Wharf.
Yeah.
Maybe it might take longer. I'm struggling with Pier.
But where is it on your list?
On my list,
Ooh.
Okay, I want to say, this was sitting in my top, like, moving around in my, like, top 3, top 4, all throughout speculation season and, like, rumor season. I was like, yeah, if we're getting a Dead Man's Wharf house, I'm so excited. And then Charles Gray described the house as sad. And I was like, sad? That's a weird emotion for there have been sad, creepy houses. Like Winter's Night was kind of sad, I guess. But it's just like a sad. I don't know. Like, that doesn't hype me up, I guess. I'm like, sad? I'd rather just discover that on my own, I guess. I don't want to be told ahead of time that it's sad. I don't know. That, like, really made it drop. So it is sitting at number 9 for me.
It is my number 2.
Yeah, and it would have been really high, but damn, that really took the wind out of my sails.
I'm getting, like, Ghost Town vibes from this.
I am as well.
And I'm really this probably has maybe the most potential. Maybe not.
To fall.
I
think The Weeknd has the most potential to fall.
Maybe.
To fall.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm really hoping for just, like, some amazing sets. And just the aesthetic being really, really beautiful and haunting.
Yeah, same.
Maybe sad.
I mean, I want to be real with you guys. And this is a hot take, I know. When the Scare Zone debuted in 2016, and for the entirety of the 2016 season, to this day, it is actually my favorite HHN 26 Scare Zone.
Ooh, not Vamp 55?
Not Vamp 55. It was haunting. I don't know that it was sad. It was just creepy to me. I'm like, I get it. I fully get what he means. Like, there have been houses that were sad. I keep landing on that again. I'm like, sad? Anyway, but yes, it's a Scare Zone, at least, that is in, like, one of my favorites of all time. Like, I really love the Scare Zone. I think it was beautiful. And so the haunted house, I agree. I'm also like, I could see this feeling like Ghost Town, like big sets, lots of ghosts, but also obviously the influences from the Scare Zone and maybe even Dead Waters. Like, I could see like a boat or something, or like boats, like it's set in a pier, there's got to be like boats. And then
it also says that they'll drag you under, so I'm just like, are we gonna
get
an underwater scene?
That would be
that
cool.
Would be very exciting.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Sad? What a fucking weird word to describe a haunted house. So we are into the top 2, which means that if you've been paying attention, you've pieced together what they are. So, number 2 is Universal Monsters, Legends Collide. If you thought one Universal monster was scary, how about 3? Better summon your Scream Squad. Because you're about to get caught in the middle of an epic battle between the Wolfman, Dracula, and the Mummy. Together for the first time ever. Their mission? To find the amulet that will break their curse, and they'll destroy anyone who gets in their way. Where's this for you?
Not as high as you. But it is in my top 5. I have this at number 4.
This is my number 1. This is my number 1 house. I am not surprised to see it in the top 2 for the fandom. It is my personal number 1. It's kind of tied with The Weeknd, but I gave it a little bit of an edge. Universal Monsters haven't missed for me literally ever. Like, there's never been a Monsters house that did not land in my top 3 at any event I've attended. So I feel really good about it. I think it's a concept that is pretty much impossible to fuck up. And I really love these characters. I love the Mummy. My very first year of Halloween Horror Nights, one of my first houses was the Mummy in 1999. So I feel like, and we've only gotten to see like Egyptian themes, you know, a couple of times since then. Like Tomb of the Ancients is the most recent one that comes to mind, and then literally the Monster's House. So getting like a lot of Mummy representation is really exciting to me personally, and just like kind of what I'm interested in. But I also I feel like this can't miss.
And I agree. Universal Monsters have also not missed for me either. And I think, one, very smart that their property houses have been so strong. I have now finally watched all 3 of those movies, so I know all of the characters now. So I am really excited for this house and to see what it holds. It's just that there's some that I'm maybe more excited about, but I do think this is going to be a great house. Like I said, I'm just so excited for this year. I really am hopeful that all of the houses are just going to like blow everything out of the water.
This is a concept for me that like I think I would be hyped with or without the other 2 monsters. If you just said it was Egypt themed, if it was just a sequel to Tomb of the Ancients, I would be like, yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm like, it has a lot going for it to land, and like at the top of my list as it is. I just feel like I've said it before and I will say again and again and again. I do not care. Universal can add a Monsters house every single year to Horror Nights.
Oh, yeah.
Like, every year, you can do Monsters. And I know some people are like, Monsters again? Like, what do you mean Monsters again? It's fucking different every year.
It's different, and they're original stories that aren't, like, a carbon copy of the movies.
Literally. Like, it's a completely different aesthetic. The Mummy there was literally one Egyptian scene in the house, you know? Like, this is a completely different situation. It's going to be a completely different house. It's also going to be nothing like the Bride House, which we got for 2 years, just like, you know, European castles, like completely different aesthetic, different vibe. Bring monsters back every year.
And then, and the Monster House in 29 was just such a compilation that this has like a storyline connecting all 3.
That really, that's really, the 2019 house did not have a story. It was just like here's a best of. It was really just an anthology of different moments.
I am very excited for this house as well.
It's like, I'm sorry, like anytime, like people like get their panties and I'm like, I can't believe they're doing monsters again. Like, what?
So, coming in at number 1 in houses and number 1 in overall attractions for HHN 31 is Spirits of the Coven. Guests will be invited to a lively 1920s speakeasy, but something sinister is brewing beneath the Spirits of the Coven. A coven of seemingly beautiful flapper witches will lure those who enter into a hidden brewing area. Once they've ensnared their victims, they'll reveal their haggish true form and turn guests into a witch's brew. They'll be cackling, everyone else will be screaming.
Witches.
But flapper witches.
1920s flapper witches.
I absolutely love a 1920s vibe, and this is personally my number 1 house that I am hyped for this year as well.
It is a little lower for me. It's kind of middle of the pack for the houses and the event. It's this is my number 8, but that is not to say that I'm not excited. It is such a like disparate concept, like 1920s flappers, gangsters, Great Gatsby, and then like classic Halloween ooky spooky witches that I'm like, how is this going to work? And I love that, and I can't wait to see how this is delivered to us. I'm almost like, all I can kind of picture is like the Kitty Cat Club sequence and like in Case Files maybe.
Yeah, I can see that, and then I have also experienced Sleep No More New York more recently this year.
I mean, yeah, I've done it as well.
You've definitely done it.
It's been a few years.
Yeah, you've done it with me. And that's definitely sort of a vibe that I'm kind of hoping for as well. just because they do have witches in that as well. And it is that 1920s feel throughout, but you've also got, like, Hecate's, like, spooky, like, garden room with, like, all of the hanging herbs. So I could, like, see that sort of vibe, too, once you get underneath into the belly of this house.
I'm expecting, like, I feel like Case Files and Wicked Growth, if they had a baby with The Great Gatsby, is what I'm trying to imagine for this house. What I'm really surprised by is that this ended up being the number one. I guess whenever I first like was looking through the concepts in my mind, I was like, okay, this seems like the one that like will be maybe the sleeper hit that I'm like no one is anticipating, and it turns out everyone is really excited about this house, and it kind of surprised me, but it's great.
Yeah,
I feel like this is going to be a predominantly like female driven house this year, which is exciting.
Mm-hmm. I would love to see, like, male witches as well, though, in there. And then I also really love, like, just the title of this being, like, spirits and it being a speakeasy.
A pun, yeah.
I really enjoy that.
Yeah, no, it's a good vibe.
It's dumb, but I love it.
It's silly, but I like it. And it, like, it kind of implies that there is more to the house than just witches. Like, there might be ghosts. Like,
yeah, no, I was supposed to say, because, right, like, they're pulling you into the witch's brew, so like your spirit, I would assume, is what's kind of becoming.
I feel like they had the get back in there ingredient moment in Wicked Growth, and we're like, what if we turned that into a whole house?
I mean, I love that moment in Wicked Growth, so
I guess that's the other thing with this house is I don't know what to expect in terms of tone. Like, is
I'm the pretty one.
Yeah, 1920s flapper to me sounds very serious. Like, very, like, not serious, but like the kind of thing that would take itself seriously, you know, and like be beautiful and elegant. Mm-hmm. But like adding witches cooking people into potions is very goofy.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I could see this kind of going either way.
I do, like you said, this does have probably the most potential to fall for me, but like I'm really excited.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see how this plays out because it sounds nuts. Like absolutely bonkers concept for a house. Okay, so just going to run through it one more time for everyone. For the community, so coming in 17th place, or last place, is Ghoulish, A Halloween Tale, followed by Halloween Nightmare Fuel Wildfire in 16th place. For number 15 is Conjur the Dark. At 14 is Graveyard Unrest. For 13, it's The Horrors of Blumhouse, Volume 3. For number 12, we've got The Horrors of Halloween. Number 11 is Scarecrow, Cursed Soil. Number 10 is Halloween. Number 9, Hellblock Horror. Number 8, Sweet Revenge. Number 7, Descendants of Destruction. Number 6, Fiesta de Chupacabras. Number 5, The Weekend, After Hours Nightmare. In 4th place, Bugs Eaten Alive. In 3rd place, Dead Man's Pier, Winter's Wake. In 2nd place, Universal Monsters Legends Collide. And in 1st place for the community, Spirits of the Coven. So we just wanted to thank you guys once again for tuning in, and especially those of you who did participate in the poll. This was fun. I had fun, at least. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely had fun. It was really interesting to see everybody's responses.
Yeah, I scrolled through it a couple times. This was mostly like the ball was kind of in your court for like handling the polling, but like I would look at it every couple of days and be like, interesting.
Yeah, I was just like, some turns were taken that I wasn't really expecting, and I was just like, all right. It's always nice to see how everybody's kind of feeling about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, thank you guys again for participating. We absolutely want to do this again at the end of the season, so we will be saving all of this information. We'll be opening the poll again sometime in late October. We'll probably do it for a little bit longer. That way there's more time to vote, and then we'll be having all of this kind of just for comparison's sake at the end of the season, just to kind of see what the community thought before and how we feel afterwards. Otherwise, if you didn't get to participate this time and tell us your hype list, please comment down below. Let us know. How do you feel? What's your most hyped house? What's the thing you're looking forward to the least? Why? Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, put us in the algorithm, just sprinkle that algorithm salt in. Otherwise, you can follow me at Cathode Coaster on Instagram, Twitter. I'm probably more active on Twitter. Lauren?
You can find me at LoloFrans on Twitter, Instagram as well, but I haven't been on there in a while.
Yeah. So otherwise, we will be back shortly with more HHN 31 coverage.
Next week when it is opening.
I mean, at the time of this posting, it's this week.
It's this week.
Yeah, so if you're watching this right now, Halloween Horror Nights 31 is starting in just a couple of days. So I hope you guys are excited as we are. I know I'm like shitting my fucking pants. Like, I'm ready.
So, this is my most anticipated year, I think, that I've ever gone. I'm so excited. I
haven't been this excited in years. So yeah, hype. We will see you guys. If you see it, by the way, if you do happen to see us in the parks, I know I ran into quite a few of you guys last year. Like, I'm awkward, and if I recognize you, I might not say hi because I am weird.
He'll point you out to me, and then I'll be like, then
is
say
that
something.
so-and-so? Yeah, I'm like kind of weird and shy. But please come up to me because I do appreciate talking to you guys, and we end up just making friends with strangers in line. So otherwise, yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in once again to the Horror Nights Gauntlet, the HHN 31 Ultimate Hype List, only on Cathode Coaster.